Consistent self-improvement, everybody. You are now listening to American gypC Podcast. I am your host, Classic. I'm here with my co-host,
gypC. And today we have a couple of guests. You might remember Dion from episode 1 of this podcast of season 1. You can go check that out. And we have another guest, which is Odofoley Oquaye. She is the founder of Sardines and host of Odyssey podcast. Welcome to the show, Odofoley.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
welcome.
Did I pronounce your name right?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So,
I guess to get started, we can start with, of course, your name is a little different. Tell us a little bit about where you're from and where you, as far as how you got into what you do now.
Sure. So I was born in New York. And long story short, my parents met, fell in love in New York. My mother's from the Bronx. My father's from Ghana and Sardine. And the way the lineage is kind of set up with the names is it focuses on a mother and what the mother, like the order of her children, because the idea is like it's mama's babies, papa's maybe. So you don't name your child Junior because that might not be your kid. So you name your children based on the order of the daughters of the mother. So Odofoley is, in my case, the firstborn daughter of the mother. In my mother's case, it's her only child, her only daughter. But yeah, that's why I have been named Odofoley. And yeah, my dad's from Ghana, but I grew up in North Carolina, so I'm from here, like from here for real. And we moved here, and that's pretty much how I ended up kind of bumping into Clarence, because I grew up here, I got a job here, and then we met kind of on the job. But yeah, that's a little bit about my background and who my people are.
I know we're not going to stick on the culture of names too long, but gypC is from East Africa, and it's funny to hear the naming culture as well there and how it's different from you said. That's pretty neat.
As a feminist, I can appreciate the positioning of the matriarchy, focusing on that. It's about what the mother has done. So yeah.
A lot of African cultures are actually a matriarch. At least focus. It is changed over time, but so tell us a little bit about Sardines and what's the inspiration behind that?
Sure. So I have always been like the planner in my group of friends when it comes to taking trips. I don't know if y'all believe in zodiac signs or like how in depth you go with them. My husband is not a fan of it. He always says that that's not real, but to an extent, I do believe that it's real. And as a Virgo, I have just naturally taken this role as a planner, as a detail-oriented person, and I just can't help it. And I gravitate towards that role. I embrace that role. But the challenge I kept finding over and over again was it got really frustrating, because I don't know if you guys have ever seen that meme, but it's like a group of like 10 stick figures, and it's like, hey, who wants to go on this trip? And like 10 stick figures are there, but then by the time you actually go on the trip, it's just one stick figure. And I found that to be really frustrating. And because I've been in tech for a while, I felt like tech would be a solution to that. So I was like, smartest thing to do here would be to build a platform where people can connect with other like-minded people, paying platform. I tried to anticipate some of the objections regarding that, as well as like what the challenges would be surrounding it, and built a platform to fit that solution. Because I was like, there's no way I could be the only one. Obviously I'm not, because people are making memes about it. So it's got to be other people that this can work for. So I just started from there. I worked around enough people in tech to know, like, okay, this is where you start. Do you need funding? You have this idea, this viable idea. How do you scale it? Things like that. So started with some of the basics and just kind of went from there. And that's where we are.
I know some of our listeners are probably wondering, where does Dion come in probably on this?
Yeah.
Dion, or, you can tell us a little bit about how you guys connected and how you're in on Sardines as well.
Well, it's really not an end on it, man. It's just I just connected two people,
You
and
supported.
it's you know what I'm saying. Just going through the walks of life to meet these two people that you can connect is something special in itself, right? You know what I'm saying, and that's really all it is, man. And I like telling that story because you know, me and you can relate to this, Classic. It's just coming from a certain area where it's hard to get away from, and you have a family going through a cycle, and it's only, you know, maybe you may be the only one that's broken out of the cycle. So, you know, the things that you want to express and share with people, if you have a platform to do it, to express that, you can reach out, you can hear, you know, earn more listeners, and then you're like, yo, you know, we think the same way, you know, so somebody else could relate to that. And, you know, that's really all it's about to me, man. But anyway, yeah, it's just walks of life, man. The co-founder of Sardines is a longtime friend of mine. I met back in, like, when I lived in the state of Texas. And Odofoley, I met her in the Carolinas, and I'm just a country boy from Mississippi. You know what I mean? Like, how you connect them dots,
Right.
You know, so it's turning into something beautiful, man. And you know, I just wanted to. She was a good person for you guys to know and introduce to the podcast. And also, too, something that I like about her podcast is gypC. You or Classic could go to her podcast and express. Y'all like to travel just like we do. You can express your travel stories. You can express things like that on her platform. So, you know, it's pretty cool. It's like it's a win-win for everybody.
Right. And we're definitely making some time in the future to do that on a lot of guests.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah, who have podcasts and who've been guests on our podcast. And we've been kind of back to back for the past few months. So we are making space to, you know, make sure that we do and return the favor to a lot of the guests that come on our podcast, and we want to go and be guests on their podcast as well. So we definitely look forward to being a guest on your podcast as well. And
y'all got a pretty good
about
queue,
travel here. Yeah,
y'all got a pretty good queue, man. Y'all queued up. You know, you like weeks out. You know, that's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's good, man.
It's gonna dwindle down sometime soon. So
yeah,
you know, we're gonna start a different pace to where we probably won't be so far out to where we can maybe certain days of the week we'll focus on particular like topics where we'll record it that day and maybe release it either that day or the next day, because that's something that we would also like to do, because right now we've kind of gotten a pace of, you know, we record and then we release later. But I definitely want to get into releasing, you know, being able to record something and then release it tomorrow. But so we're working on a new system.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to what Odofoley said earlier. I actually know two Virgos in my life, and they're both planners. And I'm not a Virgo, but I am the planner for, especially when it comes to traveling. I usually, and when I've tried to like group travel thing, people do fall off, and I still keep going. I make it a solo travel.
Sure.
And so this idea is pretty interesting, to have like a platform that there is a way to maybe recoup or even just not go to the vacation alone, still have people.
Exactly.
So can you tell us a little bit about like how the app works?
Sure. So just as like something to compare it to, there have been like other apps that have taken a stab at this, but nothing quite like Sardines. And the biggest thing with Sardines as a differentiator is, number one, we do focus on women travel. And there's a couple of reasons for that, mainly because men don't have the, I guess, like the same struggle that we do. We have to, as women, we generally have to make considerations for safety and say, oh, okay, as a woman, I don't want to go to this area, or I have to be careful about who I'm rooming with. I can't necessarily hitchhike, because those are potentially dangerous situations solely based on the fact that we're women. Um, and so I wanted to make safety a priority. Um, I also wanted to make sure that regardless of where you live in the world, you can still connect on Sardines. And there have been platforms like couch surfing where you go to, you know, um, a host country, their home country, and then you stay with somebody that lives. If you're going to Colombia for whatever, for a week, and you're kind of limited to the people that live in Colombia if you were to use couch surfing and you want like a less expensive housing alternative, or accommodations alternative, then you're limited to the people that live there. But like if there's a music festival going on, like Coachella's going on this weekend and next weekend, for the people that are there having a good time, like those people are coming from all over the world, and there should be ways that there should be no reason that someone who lives in, you know, California can't connect with somebody that lives in North Carolina and say, hey, let's link up and go half on this room, or let's go a fourth on this room, or whatever, or this Airbnb. And that those should be viable alternatives. I feel like there have been like Facebook groups that have tackled stuff like this, but just like anywhere else, there have been scammers that pop up in those groups. They abscond with people's money. They say, hey, cash at me, $20 deposit, which sounds like nothing. But if you get a scammer that pulls that off, 10, 20 times before their profile gets taken down, I mean, they've made out pretty well, I would say.
Yeah.
And they do that in a couple different groups. Those are the things that I tried to anticipate that said, okay, this is how we're going to do this different with Sardines. So the idea is, let's say, you and I are, you like as women, obviously, gypC is going to Coachella this weekend. She's on the West Coast. I'm based on the East Coast. I don't even know that you exist, but I happen to have an extra Airbnb spot. And I don't want to lose that money, but it would be nice to have, a like-minded woman that crashes with me. So I would post that I have this one spot available on the Sardine site and say, we have one spot. These are some of my likes, my interests. This is the cost for these days. If you're interested, DM me. We have a chat platform baked into the app. And then assuming all goes well as we're chatting, I then ask you for the, $200, $400, whatever the cost is, right there in the app. And as a company, we hold that in escrow. So it's far less likely to be like an Airbnb situation where it's weighted to, the host side or the guest side. It's just going to be, hey, did you go on this trip? Did you stay at this place for this many days? Great. Okay, I'm going to release that money to Odofoley now, because she was a great co-host in a sense, because she's the one who booked the Airbnb, but she recouped the money through the site. So yeah, that's very simplistically how it works.
Okay, so it's geared mostly towards women
Yes.
travelers, which is
Right now. That's
nice.
subject to change, but yes, for
Yeah.
right now, yes.
Which is not a bad thing, because
Yeah.
like you mentioned couch surfing, which I haven't heard of it in a really long time. I remember looking into it when I did my Euro trip. Before I did the Euro trip, just looking at alternative ways besides hostels, and it's having a platform where it's just geared towards women. It kind of covers that security aspect. Like
Sure.
you can kind of feel like, okay, because I think if I guess when you're doing group travel, if you're doing it with strangers, it kind of maybe you feel safer if it was a bunch of women versus like,
Sure.
some other men.
I've heard some very
Depending on-
unfortunate circumstances, even, with couch surfing, or even with Airbnb, where like the host lives on site or something, they have cameras up. There's, I've heard of sexual assaults happening with couch surfing. I've also heard of just like very unfortunate incidents that shouldn't have to happen. And that's not to say that like, a woman cannot be involved in sex trafficking, but it's just trying to mitigate those risks. That's really important, but not hindering you from seeing the world. At the end of the day, like, granted, I'm probably at a position in my life now where I'm far more fortunate. I have a baked in travel buddy now with I have a permanent plus one, as I like to call him. But when I was in my early 20s, I probably could have benefited. I didn't want to lose my $500 deposit on wherever I was going to stay. I wanted to recoup some of that money, but it's not as easy for some people to just say, oh, well, I don't have anybody to go with, so I can continue to go on this trip and just make up the difference. It's just not that easy. And I just feel like this is a great solution for those people.
Yeah. And
Or if
women
you just
gotta
want to meet
travel
friends,
regardless.
like whatever your reason is, you want to
People
go,
gotta travel.
go.
Yeah. So I was saying that the women are going to travel regardless, so it is, it helps to have a system set up or something that can help with making it just a little bit better, or just make them feel just a little bit safer. Things happen as well.
Mm-hmm,
You travel, so just leaving that open. But yeah, it's a great thing to have, because she's done some traveling. That Peru trip,
sure.
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I know you've done some traveling. What are some of your favorite places?
Wow.
Probably
Well,
hard.
my first, I would say, oh, okay. Before I get into I'm just curious, like, where was the first time you guys traveled abroad? The first abroad trip that
Together
you took?
or separately, or just
Either
period.
one. Either one, just
My
period.
first trip was
Really.
Brazil. I went 15. I actually had an exchange student from Brazil, and he lived with us for a year. And then when
And it was your
I
turn.
got to ninth grade, the end of my ninth grade year,
Oh, that's cool.
I went to Brazil for 1 month and lived with his family. And that was my
That
first
sounds like a lot.
time. Yeah.
So do
Going
you speak
abroad.
Portuguese at all or no?
Just the old
The
basics,
basics.
oi, tudo bem.
Obrigado.
Obrigado, yeah.
That's it. That's all I know.
I'm trying
Yeah,
to,
that's all I know too.
until it pops up there. Yeah. Because it's similar to Spanish too. So it's some things.
It is.
Hey,
It's similar, but
gypC, have you guys traveled anywhere recently? I know you guys normally move
The
around.
last place we went to, Mexico?
Yeah, Mexico, Cancun. But to
Cancun.
go back to your initial question, my first trip, it's kind of weird because like so it was when I was basically born. I was born here in California, but my family lived in Ethiopia at the time. So my mom kind of came here to have me. And so my first trip was whenever it was cleared for me
I
to
see.
fly. I
Got
flew
you.
what I call back home, which is Ethiopia, even though I'm Eritrean. So my first
Oh, okay,
trip,
okay.
outside of, Ethiopia was, well, besides going to Eritrea, which is a neighboring country, is
Mm-hmm.
back to America, to Minnesota. So it's
Oh,
not
Minnesota.
that
Wow. Okay.
exciting. But when I traveled for fun, my first trip would have to say London, which started
London.
off like my Euro trip. It was a long Euro trip. It was 2 months long. Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, my first trip was similar to the education experience basically. So I had I'd gone for when I was in college, and that was my first trip abroad. Um and we went to Ghana. So it was perfect for me because it doubled as like a family reunion. I got to see my family um in Ghana versus them being stateside, and got to have a good time there. And unfortunately, I think the next time I went to Ghana wasn't until 2019, like right before the shutdown, and I got to spend time with my dad. But yeah, recently though, like I went to Mexico for my honeymoon. That was a lot of fun, and I have like this tendency as the planner, of course, I like to maximize like stopovers. So I I I really don't like to like just go to one and done. Um, so I set up something so we could like go party and hang out in Miami for a day and a night, and then continue on. But I think the most epic version of that I set up, that probably I don't think anything to this day tops it, unfortunately, um, but I look forward to trying to top this, is one time I set up this itinerary with my travel buddy at the time, and I set it up so we went from, of course, North Carolina to London, and then we just like bought like a one-way ticket from London to Amsterdam. So we stopped off in London for a couple of hours, checked our bags, and did like, you know, the main stops like Big Ben and all of that. And then we flew on to Amsterdam to have a lot of fun there for the night, and went to like the red light district and stuff like that. And I like doing it that way just because I feel like when you visit a couple of places in that way, it's like it's setting it up so like you can get a taste of a place to see if you want to go back and stay. But in our case, our final destination was Dubai. So we went to Dubai and stayed there for like a week. And that was with like a travel group that like sold the package at a discount cost. And sure enough, she was able to come on that trip. And that's kind of how we became travel buddies. But yeah, we had a good time. And that was our trip. That's probably the most epic one I've taken to date.
Man, traveling abroad is so important. My first trip abroad, I was 30 years old. You know what I mean?
That's right. I remember.
Yeah,
when you went.
like
Yeah.
my first trip out of the country, man. You know, and it's like, damn, 30 years. You know, like, and us coming up in the school system that we came up in, like, I don't even remember that being an option. Or even if it were an option, it wasn't introduced to us. It may have been introduced to a more affluent environment or something like that. But I don't recall it. You know, my man's classic, he had the exchange student with him, but I don't know. Maybe he did hear it and he was more fluent than myself, maybe.
No, I remember that was the 1 year at Oxford High, but I don't remember hearing as far as too much about.
Right. It wasn't anything promoted. Like normally it would be
program.
to a Spanish country or something, or you would hear it in Spanish class. We all had to take Spanish 1 to graduate. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if you're going to hear something about an abroad trip, it's more than likely to be in a foreign class, right? And I
heard
don't
about it in
recall.
Jackson, but not in Oxford. No. Yeah, them 3 years in Jim Hill. I don't know, maybe because we were already in the program, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if we were the one circulating as far as, you know, talking about it then. Because yeah, by my 12th grade year, by the time I got to Oxford, yeah, we were done with, I guess, taking exchange students. But yeah, it was pretty popular though, as far as, because yeah, we actually knew another family. I don't know if my mom inspired them to get an exchange student, but we knew other exchange students in the city of Jackson. But yeah, Oxford, I don't remember hearing anything.
Man, it introduces you to just new things, and it takes you outside of your normal thought process and everything, man. So, you know, it's just traveling in general is important. I mean, just for a mindset, it shows you different perspectives. You're not just getting fed through outlets, you know, radio, TV. You're actually going to experience things, man, you know, and that's why traveling is an important thing. It comes with growth. You learn how to navigate. It gets you out of your comfort zone. You get to try new things. So
food,
you know, food, you know, to you women out there who ready to travel. And you know, that's pretty much Sardines.
One of the things I like to do when I travel is, probably a lot of people don't like doing this, but long layovers. I actually make use of those.
Yes.
I leave the airport and they got your luggage and everything. And, you know, say you have like a 10-hour layover, 15-hour layover, most people will look at it, because some flights you'll see, you know, there's a 10-hour option and there's a 20-hour option. And it's not saying you're going to be flying the whole 20 hours, but you might have a 10-hour layover somewhere. And basically you get to leave the airport, and it depends on the country, but you can basically leave the airport, you know, take a metro, look around. I usually try to figure out the information beforehand so that you can maximize those
Yeah, hit the ground running.
Yeah, exactly. So
Mhm.
learn all the where you need to get the tickets and where the trains are, what the map looks like, where you need to go, and then so you can boom, boom, boom. I think we did that last time when we went to Greece for our wedding. We basically
Got off
had a
in Raleigh.
layover in Madrid, and we basically got out. It was 4 of us, and we basically left the airport, went around town, saw some things, ate some food, got to see Spain a little bit, and then made our way back. It was a little scary on the timing wise
Yeah.
getting back, but the people were pretty helpful, helping us make our way back.
Pretty
Yeah.
big pigeons out there.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, where did you have a 10-hour layover?
In Madrid.
Yeah, but no, you answered it. But I was just saying, like, yo, she was definitely going abroad 10 hours.
I just recently seen a ticket, and the option was like a 10-hour flight. And this is like today or yesterday, I can remember. But the option was like a 10-hour flight and a 20 or 30-hour flight. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. What is this? Because I know about layovers. So I looked at it. It was a 17-hour layover in Panama. And I'm like, I haven't been to Panama. I can totally 17 hours. You can do so much in a big city, but Panama's probably a little bit smaller than like going to Paris or something. So
Sure.
I don't know. I like doing those because you get to maximize. You get a taste of a country, and you get to see if you want to come back or not. So
I've never did that. I'm gonna try and pull that off. I might even look for a layover now.
Yeah. Now you got like a cheap stay at a country, a short stay.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes it's overnight, like you get there in the day and then you stay, you don't leave until the next day, and you're like, okay, I can make use of this. So that's another tip.
Traveling tips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Go ahead,
you guys
guys.
use like specific? Do you have your go-to travel apps that you use besides Sardines? Once you sign up, of course. But
Yeah, right. Because everybody's always asking me to plan trips. Because nobody has the patience. Like I love it. Like I love
it too.
I love looking up everything about where I'm going. So like I'm, the guide when I'm there. So, it's just making use of I haven't used any apps to your question.
Do you book your flight or your hotel first?
I booked the flight first. Yeah. And then
Same. I feel
Yeah.
more comfortable booking the flight first as well, especially if it's a good deal.
Yeah, because
I mean that's the hierarchy. That's the stand. I mean, why would you not book the flight first? You got to make sure you get there.
Yeah, because you with the hotel, it's like there's more research that needs to be done, and you don't want to hold out. Like the ticket, you want to grab a lot sooner, so you can lock in the price. But yeah, and then I would figure out, depending on how long I'm staying, maybe I want to hop around, because if I usually try to maximize the trip. Like say if I'm going to Ireland, I check out what are some what are all the spots, so that maybe we need to stay on this side of the island for a couple of days and then move over to this other hotel or Airbnb for the rest of the time, just to make it easier to access certain activities. So I don't want to like book the hotel until I figure out what my activities are.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's my line of thinking as well. I use Hopper. That's my go-to.
I've heard of it. I haven't really used it.
I will say I use it to track the prices. I do not use it to book. Just to be very clear, like any of your listeners, if you're a novice and you don't know, a lot of travel pros know this, but if you're a novice and you're just wanting to get started, do not book through third-party sites. Expedia has helped me in the past, but if I can help it, I'm going to always book with, directly with the airline, directly with the hotel. They will generally match prices anyway. But if there's a problem, they're rarely going to help you because they're going to be like, well, you went to this person for help, so let them help you now. And that's generally the attitude. So if you don't hear anything else, probably just take heed to that, I would say. But yeah, Hopper is something that I use daily. They send me multiple notifications. I really like using them to track prices. Just make sure I'm getting the best deal.
She's coming back in.
I'm back. I had accidentally clicked close all instead of. I was like, oh no. No, but I'm here now. I'm here.
Yeah, guys. But I mean, Odie just really wanted to introduce her platform to you guys. I know me and you guys talk often. I'm gonna call y'all tomorrow, probably. You know what I'm saying? And I love how accessible you guys are, man. You're doing a great job on your podcast. I can't wait to the next interview. And we just, go keep this thing coming, man. It's good to keep watching y'all. I forwarded my brothers your links, man. I don't know how many. Can y'all see who your subscribers are?
I don't know.
Or does it just show you how many subscribers you have?
It depends on the person, like how they have their settings. So sometimes it tells you, and some people it doesn't. So
yeah, because I think for ours it doesn't show the subscribers.
It just shows you how many.
Sometimes
gotcha.
If they have their settings adjusted to where it shows people when you subscribe to them, it's a YouTube setting basically. So whoever has it off, we don't see if they subscribe or not. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Well, yeah. Odie, I didn't know if you wanted to expound on Sardines. You want to throw your handles out there?
Yeah. Before we close out, we
sure.
Ask that. Is any upcoming projects you want to share with us, or anything? Your links and stuff like that.
Yeah. So on socials, we're at with socials. I think with the exception of Twitter, we're at Sardines LLC. On Twitter, I think we're LLC Sardines. But either way, it's consistent. You'll see the logo. We can be found. We have a Sardines Facebook page. COVID really put a damper in our momentum. Unfortunately, I'm sure that that's true for a lot of people. But at the end of the day, people are back outside, and we want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of you rejoining, reintegrating into society, travel society anyway. And and we're really trying to drive ups. So if you want to support a great new platform, you want to support Black-owned business, a woman Black-owned business, if you are a member of the Divine Nine, if you are just a woman who likes to travel, because my co-founder and I are both members of the same sorority. So as far as like backstory with meeting Clarence or Dion, I thought that was always something that connected us and helped a lot. It was all destiny and meant to be together, meant to be put together in that way. So end of the day, if you want to support us, we would really appreciate signups. Tell your friends about us, especially lady travelers out here, because that's who we're supporting at this time, who we're prioritizing. And our website is sardinesllc.com. And that's where we can be found. That's where you can sign up. And any feedback that you have, please feel free to reach out on the site, and we'll get back to you ASAPington, because we love that. We need that. As a tech company, that's what we thrive on. So yeah, thank you.
And is it on the App Store?
It's not in the Google Play Store yet. We rolled out with the website with the idea that yes, it will eventually be put in the Google Play Store and in the App Store.
Okay.
Well, we definitely like to thank our listeners. We like to thank our supporters, our subscribers, the viewers. Like to thank everyone for the support. Thank you to our guests. It's been a great conversation. Yeah. If you're ever in LA, we definitely invite you in to come and have a, in-house studio conversation as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We were out there last summer. We had a good time. We love LA. So yes.
Yeah. So definitely
we'll take you up on that for sure.
Keep us in mind for that.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna try to book y'all in the fall, come out there and sit on the couch with you. It looks comfortable too. Just flip my cushion when I come. Just flip it over.
Okay.
It's pretty comfortable.
Yeah. For the listeners, you can find our podcast at americangypsy.com and on all podcast platforms. And you can find consistent self-improvement merch at luamlee.com. And
we also have music under Classic Carpenter, KLACCIK on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Tidal, all major platforms, even more. It's some instrumental music, cello music, also some music, some vocals, just some, nice melodic stuff. Also, we have the American Gypsy soundtrack, to where we have some electronic instrumentals that we released that go along with our YouTube videos of us, exploring and traveling and doing a couple of things like that. So definitely check out the YouTube channel for some behind the scenes, things that we get into the American Gypsy part of our world. So thank you again to our listeners. Thank you for everyone. Consistent self-improvement and peace. And we cut after that.
Yeah.
Peace, love.
Thank you. It was beautiful.
Yeah, so I just paste that together on the
the little part in the middle where it messed up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, that was good. Hey, Classic. Can I give you some positive criticism right now?
Go for it.
Not even criticism, but some positive feedback right now. You're great, but control your hand gestures.
What's that for?
Yeah, like your hand gestures. When you're talking, you're moving like your hands like you know what I mean?
But that's that's a part of what you do when you're talking. You express yourself,
I know. I'm saying, like it's like I won't say it's like all the time,
but I do it often. It's a part of my
yeah. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe it was negative to you then. I'm sorry.
No,
but I was just saying, like looking at it.
I'm gonna move my hands. That's that's just me. I feel weird if I wouldn't. It helps with with nerves and concentration.
Yeah, I know some points when you're expressing yourself. Yeah.
And it's podcast, so it's we get most of the listeners.
Yeah, most people are listening.
Yeah,
but
listening.
Some YouTube views though, they pay. So I'm gonna make sure I click on the YouTube link as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're getting ready to kind of construct a group of creators that kind of support on that tip, to where we may be doing something maybe once a week or once a month, to where we
cross collaboration stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Or some kind of event to where we're networking as a part of an episode every often, kind of consistently, to make sure that everybody get at least a good like or a subscribe. We can pick up 10 to 20 subscribes each networking event or something like that. We're working on that.
Cool.
Yeah, they do the sponsorships, all of that. Yo, they finna blow up.
Yeah, we working on it.
Yeah, man.
But we definitely appreciate y'all time.
Yeah.
Same. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Hey, send me the link to the next one, because I never got it, so don't forget about it.
Yeah, I'll do that right after.
Yeah, and shoot, I'll talk to y'all soon, man. Shoot,
yeah, and I'll make sure that I make sure I get over the link to you guys as well to sign up, because I'm definitely picking that back up in 2022, the podcast. Odyssey.
Definitely. We're open to network on that and to come in and give some positive energy.
Yeah, they got some good stories to tell too, Odie. So it'll be a good one. What episode would they be?
Yeah, I like talking about travel. So
yeah, it's a lot of adventures.
Questions, so it's
Yeah, I'm down.
It usually takes. I'm looking at the schedule. I try to make a release schedule. So this episode is releasing on the 19th. If all the other uploads before go according to schedule, which usually does. So yeah, around the 19th, and when it releases, I'll basically send you the links to all of it.
To share.
Yeah, the audio goes to all the platforms, and then video is on YouTube, and now Spotify is letting us do video. So on Spotify would actually be the video for.
Yeah, they just started that. Okay.
And then we put a blog post for every episode on our website, with all your information. So if there's
Okay.
any extra information that you want, like I got the information from your website, the Sardines
Sure.
site, but if there's any other links or things that you want
Okay.
to have, just email it to me, because I'll put that on the
Right.
description of all the episodes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I'll share a social promo as well.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, y'all have a good night over there on that.
Yo, for sure, man. All love to both of y'all, to both groups,
All
man.
right.
Y'all some good people, man. Have a blessed night. I appreciate y'all time. Love.
For
All
sure.
right.
Love
Thanks,
y'all.
everybody.
All right. Yo.
Have a good one.
Bye.